Okay, well, we're live. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the cafe. I
Good morning.
pushed it. We're live, girl. We're going.
We are?
Yeah, I've got it right here on my screen.
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome.
My computer.
Good morning.
Welcome to the
All right, you
cafe.
guys.
Welcome to the cafe, y'all. You would think that with being a year into COVID, we would have technology like down pat, right? Let me tell you, we don't. And so some days are a good time, and some days are an even better time. Today is an even better time. So welcome to the cafe. I just want to shout out the warm line real quick. That number's at the bottom of the screen, y'all. It's totally free. It's confidential. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What that means is if you need a listening ear, if you are going through some things and want to talk it out, you're welcome to call these folks and they will happily listen to you or have conversation with you also. It also means that when they say, hey, what's your name? I'd like to know who I'm talking to. You can say, I'd rather not, because it is confidential and that is your choice and we support that. So definitely give those folks a call because they are amazing. Ariel, I'm loving your face right now. I don't know what's going on, but I'm totally like, I'm about that life right now with you. Shout out the front desk real quick too. Miss Kim is always like wanting to hang out, have a conversation. Y'all have definitely like kept her going. So definitely shout out Miss Kim. If you're needing a peer support, maybe you need to connect with someone, give Miss Kim a call, 704-390-7709. All right, so this is the cafe. This is the time we come together and do what we do at the cafe, which is just chat it out. So yeah, let's do just that. First of all, Bruce is here. Good morning, Bruce. Bruce, you're our people too. I was having a conversation this morning with some folks, and the conversation kept going back around to self-care. And I thought, as I looked out the window, and it's raining like grossly. I thought to myself, yeah, what a good reminder. So that's been something I've really been like thinking about this morning as I've kind of like did my thing and been on my journey at work here. And so I think that tonight when I get home, I'm going to bake a cake. And when it's done baking, my people know this already. I love a good bath. I'm about to go eat me some cake in the bath, y'all. And I know that may sound like weird and gross to some people. Your opinion is your opinion though. And this girl gets it how she lives it. So I'm like fantasizing about this cake and bathtub later. And I know that I'm ready for 4:30 to come around. Because I really thought about, the need to self-care today. So that's just been kind of like where my mind has been. What can I do for Amanda so that she's better for other people? So yeah, that's just kind of where I am. What about you guys? What's been going on with your day and like what's been kind of the reoccurring like theme like within yourself today?
So Amanda, I can jump on to respond to that. So I'm glad you brought up self-care because there's so many different versions of self-care that I've learned recently, and eating cake in the bath is part of that, but also part of that is, I don't know how to like word it, so stay with me for a second, but I saw this thing that said, what if people actually do love you? And that, it really spoke to me because I was like, that's a form of self-care for me, is to actually take what people are telling me to them. Whenever people actually tell me that they actually care about me and they actually love me, instead of just being like, oh yeah, that, you say that to everybody. It's actually taking it to heart and listening to that. And that is my newest form of self-care that I have adapted in my life because we tend to maybe not talk so nicely to ourselves or about ourselves. And so I'm kind of retraining my brain to actually take what people say to heart and listen to that and feel that, because I know whenever I tell someone that I love them and I care about them and I'll do something for them, I mean it. So why don't I think that people, whenever they say that to me, why don't I think that they mean it? So that's my newest form of self-care that I'm trying to implement today and every day, is believing people when they tell me nice things about myself.
I love that, Darcy. I think that I'm super guilty of that too. I've always been told, like, talk to yourself the way you would talk to other people. But once upon a time in my life, I didn't talk to other people very good either, right? So I was talking to myself the way I was talking to other people. And while it was easier for me to change that narrative to other people, it's been a struggle to myself. So I really am like appreciative that that was brought up today. That sometimes just like hearing other people give us, for me, a compliment's hard. Like, it's so hard when people say, "Oh my God, Amanda, you're glowing today," or "Oh my God, Amanda, your hair looks so good." I'm like, thanks, anyways. But to genuinely, thank you. My hair does look really good today, or maybe I am really glowing. I needed to hear that, Darcy. Thank you.
And you bring that up, that's so cool because I'm bringing Shift Happens back on our curriculum starting next week. And that's a key component of what I talk about in Shift Happens, is to be able to soak in those compliments and be more gentle with ourselves and have more mercy for ourselves. And to me, I echo what Darcy said. That's huge self-care. Even when you don't really have a definition of what your self-care looks like, it could be that I just want to do nothing, just absolutely nothing, and allowing myself to do nothing and being okay with not doing anything. And that be part of my self-care, because we all have these beautiful definitions of what our self-care looks like. And I think we transition a lot in our lives on what we used to view as self-care previously and what self-care looks to us now, or even yesterday. And so start tapping into a lot of those different things, that what makes you happy. What was fun to you when you were a kid, and bring that in the forefront. But I'm excited to have Shift Happens coming back on the playlist next week, and so that's a good segue for me to promote my class.
You're ruthless with your plugs, Bunny. So Roberta's chiming in, and she's saying, "Hey, first of all, Roberta's been one of our folks that have been here since the beginning of all this virtual thing, and even before that. But she's also just being honest with us, y'all, and saying that her nerves are bad today. And I don't know what that means for Roberta, but I know what that means for Amanda. So I would really appreciate it if we could maybe throw out something to help Roberta with, her nerves being bad. For me, something that I do when I'm experiencing my nerves being bad or anxiety, and things like that, is that I take a minute, and that can be in my car, that can be at home. If you're in your car, make sure it's in park, please. And I just close my eyes and I take a couple of deep breaths. And I listen to the things around me, and right now it's the rain, so that's really cool. And that really just helps me slow down, and for my nerves, right, for my anxiety to be suppressed a little bit. So that's one of the ways that I deal with that, Roberta. And I'll let the rest of the team jump in here, because I've watched most of us go through our nerves not being great today. So I know that we can all share some stuff.
So one thing that happened to me yesterday, which I was very grateful for, is Anna Fiskus was in the building, and she was a couple doors down, and I believe she was either recording a class or talking to someone, but I heard her talking about a breathing technique. And she didn't even know, but as she was talking to someone else, I was doing what she was saying, because I was, I had 6 different things open. My mind was everywhere. I was wearing all my different hats, and I said, you know what? I said, Anna's doing something really cool right now. I'm going to so I started breathing interesting. So Anna, do you mind sharing kind of what those seconds are, Steph?
Yeah, so that's so funny because I had no idea I forgot you were even back there. So I was talking with somebody and we were talking about exploring different tools and ideas around her goal of healing from past traumas. And so, that's part of what I put into the From Survive to Thrive class that's getting ready to be available. And so the technique that I was talking about, it's called square breathing. And also, I want to add that deep intentional breathing is one of the quickest ways to deactivate our nervous system, and it also helps to create new nerve pathways in the brain. And so, square breathing is where you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, release. Wait. Yeah, release for 4 seconds, exhale, and then hold for 4 seconds. And you can repeat that as many times as you feel it's helpful, if you feel it's helpful. And it can support you in kind of, deactivating, or maybe if you're experiencing some anxiety, maybe helping alleviate some of that. There's lots of other breathing exercises out there too. I don't remember them all right now at the moment. There's also things like mindfulness and grounding exercises and things like that. As I was listening to you all, and I think about when my nerves are bad or my nervous system is activated, um, breathing is helpful for me. Um, Sometimes listening to certain music can be helpful for me. Talking to someone who, knows about my experiences and knows about what that looks like when my nerves are bad or I'm struggling. Those are some of the things that are helpful for me.
I'm actually putting a link in the chat, everybody, for a video on YouTube for square breathing. So if what Anna talked about was interesting to you, then definitely check that out. It's like 1 minute and 30 seconds, so it's very short, very easy. So I had to learn that recentering didn't take me all day. Like when I first started doing this thing, y'all, like they used to tell me, "Oh, you can start your day over at any time," and I would be like, "No, I can't." But truly, as I have grown, I can start my day over at any time. And like Anna said, breathing is one of the ways that I do that. And we do it every day, y'all, like naturally, right? Like our bodies we don't have to think about breathing, it happens. Um, so think about like all the other things that we do unintentionally. When we finally put intention behind those things, think about how they excel. Our breathing is no different. So I'm glad that that skill was brought up today. James, I'm going to ask you to chime in because I know that you have a lot of coping skills that you use, and a lot of them are around spirituality and things of that nature, which I really enjoy and like. So do you have anything to pass on to Roberta? She said she had a bad dream, couldn't go back to sleep. Her nerves have been on end today. How can she help that settle down a little bit? What are some things that you would do?
I like what Anna was talking about, specifically mindfulness. Mindfulness is very important. It's like a game you can play. You could do some intermittent breathing. You can do some square breathing, and if you mix things like that with mindfulness, like paying attention and getting you centered back to the now. So, how many things are in the room that are blue? How many things in the room start with an L? Name 6 people. Names start with a R. It brings you back to a center of mindfulness, and now you're not thinking about what's really got you in that place, because we all know that too much future, too much future makes anxiety. Too much past thinking is a click and a drag with a mouse and bringing it into the present moment. And the past makes you think of pain and anguish and things that's gone on wrong. So going back and forth between past and future can really throw you off balance. So typically when someone has, or even, I'll just speak of me having like an anxiety attack or anything like that, anxiousness, it's because I'm spending too much time in the past, which means I'm stealing my present time moment right now. So I'm stealing from you. At 24 hours, if I do that for 2 hours and I'm all in a frazzle, I've just lost 2 hours of the future that's not here yet. So getting back to the present, getting back to the now, which is also why I always recommend books and audio books like The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It really helped change my life when I was going through it. So just remember, when we have a lot of anxiety, it may be tied to thoughts, and it's probably tied to thoughts of in the future. Mindfulness helps.
Good information. Sharon, jump in. You've always got so good to bring to the table, too. I'm not going to leave you out.
Well, Anna and James were talking about grounding, and I love grounding. I teach it in Seeking Safety, and the grounding, like James present, the goal is to come back to where you are, to where your feet are. And it's things like you were saying, name your 5 favorite TV shows. What is the theme song to a comedy that you really like? This is my favorite, and I've done this, and it has brought me back quickly. Count from 100 backwards by sevens. That will get you into the present. 93. Okay, that's as far as I get. But it takes me to somewhere. It takes me back to where I am. And the cool thing about grounding is you can do it anywhere. You can do it at Walmart where I'm losing my shit, right? Nobody knows that I'm sitting there calming myself down. You know, that I'm looking at the present. And I got to remember that there are things I need to face that bring up these feelings. But I don't need to do that at Walmart, right? I need to do that in a safe place with somebody that I trust. There's a time for that, but it's not on the bus, right? So when I'm able to do these things that bring me to the present, like James was saying, if I can do those things, it brings me back to a different kind of feeling.
I love that, Sharon. Jump on in, Darcy. We don't raise hands at the cafe, girl. We jump in.
I know. I'm just afraid that I'm afraid that my computer's lagging a little bit, so I don't want to talk over someone. So I want to make sure somebody knows I'm about to say something. It's funny that you say that, Sharon, talking about, there's things we have to face, but we don't have to do it in Walmart. And it's knowing the time and the place to think about those things and work through them with somebody that you trust, like you said, and somebody who really knows us. And I don't know how many times I have told this story about me and clothes hangers, but it is my downfall. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened to me. And maybe I blocked out that trauma, but something about clothes hangers sends me off my effing rails. And so the other day, as you guys know and have probably heard, Ariel and I are next door neighbors, and we were going through the closet and changing out clothes hangers because I got these new nice velvet non-slip ones, and they're not like the metal ones anymore. And so I knew I needed one there with me to do this, even though it's such a simple task. I was like, I'm going to freak out if I do this by myself. And so Ariel was there, and there's a pile of them. I pick them up and they all get stuck together. And I'm like, and she was like, walk out of the room. I'll take care of this pile. And it's like, you have to know somebody who knows even the smallest little things that can trigger the F out of you to help you through it. And it's kind of a joke because it's like, what is wrong with you, Darcy? Why do you hate hangers so much? I don't know what it is, but something about him, it just sends me off my shit. And so I knew I had to have a support there to change these hangers. And so, that was a time where I felt safe enough to show my true self and trigger my hangers. But, I'm not going to open up a box in Walmart, you know, because I know that I'll probably have security called on me. So I just wanted to share that little piece of knowing who to have and when.
I love that you had a plan, Darcy. If I know I'm going somewhere that's going to probably jerk my nerves, I need to take backup, right? I don't have to go anywhere alone anymore, is the cool thing, right? Because of my support network. And having that planning ahead is critical to me because I hate to be surprised. I hate those anxiety attacks. I hate it when I'm losing my shit at Walmart, right? It's not pretty. And I want to be able to know that if I've got problems with crowds, I don't need to go to Concord Mills at Christmas time, right? I'd be setting myself up. So I need to do something. So I go to Walmart at 3 a.m. Those are my people anyway, right? So it's about having a plan that can help, right? Thinking ahead about what could trip us up is critical to me.
Sharon, as you were talking about Walmart at 3 a.m, I just had this flashback of being 20 years old and me and my best friends getting dressed up at 3 a.m. in our prom dresses from the year before to go to Walmart and go shopping. You can truly be yourself at 3 a.m. at a Walmart. COVID has changed operation a little bit. You know, they're not open at 3 a.m., but we got a prom dress. I think they're open till 11, you know, go at 10:30. It's probably not busy.
I can wear my homecoming queen outfit.
Yes, your pink one looking like Barbara Bush. Y'all, let me tell you, have you saw, I know the PR, I need to find that, we need to get that picture and put it online of Sharon in her prom regalia because she looks like straight Barbara Bush in the most respectful and beautiful way imaginable.
Yeah. Right.
She was a first lady after all, so we'll go with that. Yeah, we're gonna have to get that for our folks to see. Good times there.
You called me a lady.
Just today. Today.
I loved how you transitioned, Amanda. Just a thought in your head turned to something really funny. And
I get my life money.
Right? But I mean, I think sometimes our normal trajectory is to go back in time, back in your history. But I challenge people to go back in their history and find the fun stuff, the accolades that you have, and focus on the good stuff. If you're going to go back there, go back to where it was good and things. You remember those fun times, or you remember you got that award, or you remember that compliment from your mentor that meant so much. If you're going to go back there, go back to one of the happy places, one of the happy rooms back there, and not to the shame and blame and the crap that we historically go back to.
Ariel, I know that we haven't heard from you, and you always got something good to say. And I know that I've witnessed how you deal with anxiety and your nerves being wrecked sometimes, and it's a beautiful thing. And I'd love to hear some of your coping skills, because from the chat, it looks like we can all use a few extra coping skills for days that we're feeling just a little not quite like ourselves.
I know, Amanda. I feel like mine are always pretty even keel. Totally kidding.
Okay.
Well, no, a big thing. I woke up this morning. You guys know, a big thing for me is running. That's like my meditative space. It's me to myself. When I run, process stuff differently. Kind of going along with what Anna shared too, I feel like not only is the act of running meditative, focusing on my breathing, whereas like day to day, not really. And I know for me, when I'm upset, especially if I'm crying, I really tend to hold my breath breath. And so being able to go out, and if it's just a walk, that time and space to really focus on my breath calms me down a lot. Also, I've noticed over the last year that doing creative things has been super helpful. I have been finding anything and everything to paint or color or hammer on, or also get really creative. I'm going to put kind of that restless energy into something physical. For me, I find that it's really important to have something tangible that almost reflects where I'm at, I guess. It's like that instant gratification with something. So if another thing in my life feels a little out of control, or just the journey of life, there's not really a destination for made it through all the things that I dealt with, and now I'm here and like I'm perfectly fine forever. That's a constant journey. So having something tangible that I can recreate or change in some way that I can look at and say, this is what it looked like before, and now this is what it looks like now, just gives like that physical manifestation of the journey, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I know that for like you're not alone as far as I'm concerned. I was actually watching Grey's Anatomy last night, and I'm only on like season 10, y'all. So for those of you who are like way ahead of me, don't say nothing. But one of the doctors was getting ready to leave the hospital, and she came back to do a final surgery because she had to see something finished before she could leave. And so that's what that reminds me of. It's just that like desire to, even in my mania, even in my anxious state, even in my depressive state, to come out of that, like, and to see something finished, to see an end product, a lot of times gives me that like feeling of peace and of calm. And so I really connected with the doctor's name was Christina. I really connected with Christina when she was like, I can't leave. I have to finish something. Because a lot of times that is an easy way for me to like calm my anxiousness, is to complete a task. And it can be a task that like I've been like putting off for forever. And it could be washing the dishes, which I may put off forever. But just to finish that is like a breath of relief, but for my external. It is the physical manifestation, as you said, of that for me. So I get that totally. We've got Tanisha that says that she likes to crochet and that helps with her wellness. I feel that. I used to like to crochet too. I learned in prison. I got through 4 years of my incarceration about crocheting a lot of stuff that wasn't a whole lot of anything sometimes, but I get that. So good for you. Do any of y'all do like any crochet or needlework or anything? That's not really something.
I knit.
No.
Gee, Bunny, I didn't know that. What do you do, Darcy?
I do not do that. That gives me, that sends me over apparently normal things are like a trigger for me, like clothes hangers and clothes. I don't know. I don't know, even coloring. It's very calming for people, but I am like, oh my God, I just got out of the lines. I'm gonna freak out. Like I can't even draw a circle. I am just the least creative person ever. Give me a spreadsheet and a book and I'm happy. I don't need colors. But I do want to say something about Ariel's piece that she mentioned about doing different things that are tangible. And I think it's so cool because like, it's almost like one day you can look around your house and it's like a canvas of your journey, because it's each piece was a different part of your healing. And so you see this table that you painted or that you redid, and you're like, I remember that day, and this is what I was helping. And so it's almost a reflection of your wellness, even after you have that instant gratification. It's a canvas everywhere. And, I've been to Ariel's house, so I know what that looks like, and I see all the different pieces, and it's like I can remember whatever, this was a part of that journey. And so it's a beautiful, like, finished almost work in progress masterpiece that you're surrounded by, that's a reminder of your journey. And so I think that I wish I had that. I do. I have it in a different way, but I'm not a creative person. I tried to paint a box green one time and it came out like brown, and I don't even know how. And so I just don't. But I envy people that do have that, because I think that's amazing and a beautiful representation of your recovery journey.
It really is, Ariel. If anyone's been to Ariel's house, you know that it is very vibrant and very Ariel-esque. And is definitely a place that you walk into and you can't help but to feel like happiness. And I know that several of us have, went through our journey of trying to change our space, to give us something to do. I know that Anna just did some painting. I'm sure some of that was rooted in many things, her own wellness, and she can talk about, why that was part of her wellness and her, her little isms, and that's okay. I know that Ariel has been at my house many a times, y'all helping me do stuff. I just sent her a text message the other day. Hey, come through. I need some help. As a matter of fact, you can just do it. So if your way of
I will.
your way of dealing with things is to do construction, to paint, to do crafts, let me know. I have a 120-year-old house. You're welcome to come and work on it. It's not a problem. You can do it for free. I'll let you. Anna, you want to talk a little bit about your home journey too, and kind of, why you've been redoing some things in your home and what that's brought to you, both the good and the bad? Because not all of us are Ariel. Not all of us are artsy and crafty, and that's not our niche, but we try.
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to say, hey, Ariel, I have a whole internal house to paint, so you are welcome to help me, girl. Yeah, so there
I'm just gonna carve a day where I'm gonna go from your house to Amanda's house. Whoever needs it, I'm just gonna set aside a whole day.
No, girl, we need a couple. We need a couple. In fact, I'll donate some of my vacation days. Bunny, give Ariel 2 of my days.
Yeah, so it's been a roller coaster this past year, right? For so many reasons. Definitely been a roller coaster for me this past year for several reasons. And I think, there were times where I was trying to find new ways of coping with any challenges that I was experiencing or feeling overwhelmed or stressed. And so there was a period this past year where I was like, so when I got my first place in recovery, lots of people donated things to me or gave me things for my first apartment because I didn't necessarily have the money to buy stuff, and so as I've moved over the years, some of it I've kept, some of it, I've given away to others. But I still had a lot of things that were given to me. So being that I bought my house, I was like, okay, now I really get to choose, right? And grateful for the gifts that people gave me when I needed it. But being able to pick things out and set it up in my house and then give the older things away was really helpful. And I really enjoyed doing it because it's mine and I can, and I've not had that before. So that was really cool. As far as the painting that I took on recently, I think that came from a lot of struggling. Everybody who knows me knows that I am a single mom of a young child, and he was home with me for a whole year in these walls. And it was really challenging to navigate, being home full time, working, being in school, and also him being in virtual school, and also trying to create space and time to give him what he needed. And so I really struggled with balance for a while and felt like not such a good mom on many days, for whatever. I'm stressed out. I yelled at it, whatever the case may be. I don't have enough time to spend with them. And so The other thing is that I'm a very organized person and things have to be a certain way. And there was a lot of marks on my walls because they used flat paint. And every day I look at it, it just drives me crazy. So Darcy, you with the hangers, me, marks on the wall or things out of place. It just, whoo. So I was like, should I pay somebody to do it? Can I do it? So one day I was just like, I'm just going to go get all the stuff. And slowly but surely, I've been painting one room at a time, which was really hard because I had not only the kid, but the dog all in my space while I'm trying to paint. So yeah, I don't know how helpful it was when I was doing it. Because I'm like, get out of the dog's got paint on her tail, But the beautiful thing is that now my kiddo is in school, and I'm about to be on vacation for a week. So maybe I will have some free time to paint on my own and get the full experience of doing something, being creative, and it being supportive to my wellness. And that was a really long answer, and I'm sorry.
Girl, we got time.
I gotta make a confession. Let me start at the beginning. Coping skills for me back when I was young, and alcohol saved my life because if I hadn't had it, I would have died. I know that. So when I gave up alcohol, I still was smoking cigarettes. Right. So I quit cigarettes eventually because the consequences were jerking my nerves. So I didn't want to have that anymore. So I moved to something more healthy. I vaped, and then I got nicotine free. I've slipped back. I've fallen back on old coping skills. I'm smoking again. And I'm going to tell you the truth. When COVID hit, I thought I was going to die in about 2 weeks. I went around and told people goodbye and shit. I mean, I was scared, and I didn't want to drink, but I thought, shit, if I'm going to die, I'm going to smoke. I love to smoke. So it doesn't make sense, but I went back to something that I knew that the consequences are going to catch up with me. I know that this is not a healthy thing, that there are things I can do that actually calm my nerves more, that the consequences aren't so severe. So I just wanted to throw that in there because sometimes, I'm not very successful. Sometimes I fall back on things that I know aren't great, but you know what? I got to live. I got to get out of this space, and I got to do whatever I got to do. So I'm still smoking, but I'm working on quitting. So wish me luck and say a prayer.
You know what's beautiful about that though, Sharon? Even though you're saying, hey, I went back to old coping skills, like the awareness, right? I remember when I didn't have that awareness. I just did, right? I just did. I went to what I knew, and whatever happened after that, versus being in recovery and having learned and grown and changed and found new tools, or found a toolbox in my case. And not all of I'm glad you brought that up, because not all of our tools work every single time, and sometimes I do things in recovery that don't feel good, or I'm like, gosh, better than that. Like, why was that your go-to, and then I'm like, okay, I need to regroup and get back to, what I know works. So thank you for bringing that up, that self-awareness of hey, this didn't work this time, or I fell back a step or two, but I can keep going, pick myself up and keep going. I'm creating a plan. I'm going to try this, and this, and we'll see what happens. That willingness to keep going, no matter what.
Yeah. Love that. Bunny, you got anything for us? You've been quiet for a while, which isn't normal Bunny-esque for us.
Well, I think it's cool that Sharon said that, because now she has a whole audience that will help her keep track or walk with her on that. But the thing about smoking is, although the nicotine is addictive, if you think about it, it's the thought process of that breathing, because you inhale and you hold it and you exhale, and so that it's a huge calming mechanism with a cigarette because we're doing that breathing tool. No, I don't have anything else. I'm just listening.
I'm glad you brought that up though, Bunny, because we had a training. I don't know, we were in person, so who knows how long it's been at this point. And I think maybe it was with Damie when we did that training. And that's one of the things they talked about was that while nicotine is very addictive, right? What's even more addictive that we don't even know because something we do on a regular basis is the breathing and is the actual inhale and exhale of the cigarette. So I love how this came full circle, and I appreciate you reminding us about that, because that training just like triggered all over again in my head with her saying that. So I think it just, man, our bodies are really cool and are really amazing that they do these things that regulate us, and that just is really cool. There's not been a lot of times that I thought that my body was cool, right? There's not been a lot of times that I've committed my body because it could do something. But that, just to sit and think about it is really that this is what our bodies do. Our bodies cope naturally. Sometimes they need a little help from our, voluntary thought process, but they naturally cope. And I think that just goes back to like how resilient we just are as human beings. And that feels powerful to me. Well, y'all, it's 11:42. Anybody got any last words before we finish our last sip of tea and close the cafe down? We should have a little teacup or something. Thanks, Ariel. You showed us all up. It's okay. Tally ho. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for the conversation.
Coffee.
Oh, it's coffee. Oh, never mind. We need tea, girl. We need tea. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Thanks for everybody in the chat. Y'all already know if you've heard me before. Like, I love the chat. That's how we get to interact with y'all. Thanks for sharing some of your coping skills in the chat and letting us be a part of your conversation as well. Erin, I hope we did you good this week. Right now, you got a panel of all females. We appreciate James being here. Yeah, girl power, though. We'll see you next time, y'all. Have a good rest of your week and happy hump day, as Anna would say.
Yes.